I met in college. We were hallmates first year. He lived right across the hall from me.
He was disappointed because he thought I was a girl.
I was like, oh, Alexis and Mike live across the hall. It must be like a co-ed dorm. That's cool.
He got over that though, which was good. And
we bonded over video games. Most of our friendship in college was centered around video games, really.
Every gamer wishes to be a game developer. That goes hand in hand with just being a gamer. But it didn't quite turn out that way.
I had a lot of ideas at the time, just like I do now. It's like little frustrations in life. You think to yourself, oh, I could do better, I can make this better. And one of the ideas I had was for ordering food from your cell phone.
We go up there, we do what we thought was a pretty good pitch. That night, we get a phone call, and it's Paul. And he says, listen, I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to reject you.
I was like, Paul, what the shit? You knew what the idea was. We spent 2 hours talking about it with you. You told us to apply to YC. Like, what the hell?
I remember thinking, you know what? We're gonna show them how wrong they were, and this is fine. This is good. This is just motivation. We went out that night and got really drunk, and the next morning we were hungover and on a really slow train all the way back to Charlottesville. My cell phone rings, and it's Paul. I'm typing on my keyboard while we're talking so Steve can kind of see what's going on in the conversation, and Paul's basically saying, listen, we don't like your idea, but we like you guys. So if you're willing to come back, get right off this train, and come up with something new, we'll fund you. Steve lunged over me to go find the conductor to find out where we were. I told Paul we were somewhere in Connecticut, and yeah, we'd get off the train and we'd come right back. Forget the fact that I'd spent the last year researching restaurants in Charlottesville to try to figure out if this product was gonna work. We were starting from scratch on some new thing, and he just said, listen, don't do mobile phones. At that time, there was no app store. You'd have to go through carriers. It was like, just build a web app. It seemed like the internet was going to need a new front page, a broader one, because content was being created, even back in 2005, by such a broad array of sources that no one source could really lay claim to that unless it aggregated everything.
We're basically going to take the mechanisms of delicious. The most popular things are the things that lots of people are submitting, and combine that with Slashdot, which actually had good content.
Paul crystallized that phrase during the discussion. He was like, that's it. You guys need to build the front page of the web. Moved in early June and just worked.
All day, many nights. Y Combinator had given us $12,000. That was our funding.
We were super productive. We didn't even go outside. were the first Y Combinator company to launch because Paul sent us this scathing email and Steve took it really, really personally.
I'd been working on this literally 2 weeks and Paul was freaking out over email about why we haven't launched this thing yet.
Paul essentially said, you guys haven't launched it because you're incompetent, in which case you're hosed, or you're just worried about being perfect, in which case you're still hosed because you're gonna have to launch it anyway and just deal with the fact that it won't be perfect.
I sent him this email about 3 weeks in basically saying, okay, the basics of it are working. And then he wrote his next essay and linked to Reddit from that essay. And that got us 1,000 or so visitors that first day. We hadn't planned on launching. The site was really, really bad. But from that day forward, we were launched.
We were able to build a product that was at least functional. It may have been bare bones, but it worked.
Alexis and I started submitting all the content just to keep the thing full, right? Because Reddit's no fun if the page is blank.
We would come up with a post and a random username to give the impression that the site had more people on it.
The day I woke up and Reddit was working on its own, it was just the most incredible feeling. It was like, holy shit, we've got this thing that is like really making a difference in people's lives.
The next morning, I went down very first thing to go see them, and that was when I learned that it was in fact terminal brain cancer. And you know, hearing that your mother has terminal brain cancer is awful. And what I didn't expect though was that when I would first see her, the words out of her mouth would be, "I'm sorry." She didn't want that weighing on my conscience while I was trying to do everything else I wanted to do up in Boston, where our company was. And so in a way I felt like we had to succeed, and that Reddit had to be a success so that I could show them that it was not wasted faith in me.
Queen. Queen.
What the father told you about these alleged crimes.
Brooke, Aaron allegedly downloaded millions of academic journals from MIT's network. He believed that academic research shouldn't be hidden behind a paywall. And his father said he believed he was innocent. But he did say to me, even if he wasn't innocent, the punishment of facing 35 years in prison did not match the crime. 11 of the 13 charges Aaron faced were violations of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, a law that many people say is completely outdated.
They went to his apartment, went through all of his personal effects. After he surrendered voluntarily, they arrested him, they strip searched him, and they left him in solitary confinement for hours. And after he met his bond, they kept him in solitary confinement for 3 or 4 hours with absolutely no explanation, all with the goal of attempting to break him.
And, you know, he did. We should say Aaron did battle. As he was battling the courts, he was battling with depression. And his father really believes that had it not been for the charges and the extent of his charges, his son would still be alive today, bro. Asked his father about this. Listen to this.
Well, at the moment, that law makes it a felony for you to give your password to HBO to a friend. That has to be changed.
If you believe that there were problems with the criminal justice system, which obviously you've said, do you believe that if the criminal justice system hadn't failed Aaron, do you believe he'd be alive today?
Without question.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah. Like one who's gone into the abyss.
Now, if you spent time online and read comment sections of websites, you've no doubt seen some pretty vile, offensive comments written by anonymous people, saying things they would never actually say if their names were posted. That's free speech, of course, and people have a right to say whatever they want. Often these people are referred to as trolls. We aren't editorializing when we use the term trolls. It's an internet slang for troublemaker. Well, tonight you're about to meet one of the biggest trolls on the internet, reviled for his pornographic posts. He's speaking out tonight in his first television interview. This particular troll created several controversial, many would say creepy and twisted, forums on the website Reddit. One was called Jailbait, and it featured sexually suggestive photographs of teenagers, images that bordered on child pornography. We reported on it last year. A couple weeks later, Reddit shut down the Jailbait forum. Well, there were others that rivaled its creepiness. One featured pictures of dead children, another was called Rape Jokes. You get the idea. Pretty vile stuff. For years, the guy who created and moderated these forums hid behind the online screen name Violent Acres. But last week, the website Gawker revealed who he actually is. Now, keep in mind that Reddit is a powerful online player. It reported more than 3 billion page views in August alone. A really good troll helps drive traffic on a website. Violent Acres, a.k.a. Michael Bruch, was so good at what he did, he says that Reddit awarded him prizes, including one for the Jailbait forum. That's how popular that was.
The problem is the kids, the teenagers, the pictures weren't yours.
That is correct.
You didn't know who those kids were.
No, and neither did anyone else. We did our best to maintain the anonymity of these people without thinking, about the wider repercussions. If people were to tell us, I know that person, or this was me, we would remove them. Well, I say we would remove them. This is one of the big problems. Well, I mentioned that you can't delete anything from Reddit.
If a teenage girl is out there and for some reason or another, a picture of her in her underwear gets posted on a site called Jailbait, you would expect her to contact some guy named Violent Acres and ask for that picture to be removed from this website because it's very embarrassing to me? I mean, this whole thing sounds, I gotta tell you, it sounds crazy. I'm a father of a daughter. I would be very mad at you.
And I understand that. And all I can say is that, I'm sorry. I have made mistakes. I understand that, Reddit encouraged and enabled this sort of behavior, and I shouldn't have been a part of it. Nobody on Reddit really had anything to say about it at all. I treated Reddit like a game. I just, apparently I have a gift for pushing buttons.
But did you ever think, jailbait, rape bait, incest, pics of dead kids, choke a bitch? Did you ever think these aren't normal buttons I'm pushing here?
Well, because, and this goes back to how the Violent Acres character first started. My first thought was, or Violent Acres' first thought was, I see those pictures on my incoming image stream all the time. I could easily create a Reddit for that and fill it up with some pictures. So I did. 2 outraged people. No idea where the pictures came from. I created, back in the day, I created a Reddit called R-Rape for rape jokes. I created one called
Rape Jokes.
Rape Jokes. One called R-Pregnant for pictures of pregnant women.
Are you apologizing for what you did, or are you trying to make an excuse for what you did?
I am to some degree apologizing for what I did. Again, I was playing to an audience of college kids. And, when 2 years ago, when all of this was at its height, the audience was appreciative and supportive of the sort of gallows humor that I put out there.
Did you get a thrill out of that?
Honestly, the biggest thrill I got was those meaningless internet points.